Texaco, we're the men of Texaco. We work from Maine to Mexico. There's nothing like this Texaco of ours. Our show tonight is powerful. We'll wow you with an hour full of howls from a shower full of stars. We're the merry Texaco men. Tonight we may be showmen. Tomorrow we'll be servicing your cars.
A staple on ABC television from 1956 to 1959, Bold Journey was a documentary-style series that presented the real-life adventures of interesting people from all walks of life. After being interviewed by host John Stevenson, the amateur adventurers would narrate films of their daring deeds, films full of fascinating facts and scenes from around the globe. Each week, a new and exciting adventure was offered. Part travelogue, part documentary, part action-adventure, Bold Journey took viewers on trips around the world. This week, travel to Acapulco, Mexico, in Skin Diver's Paradise.
Bold Journey, your television passport to the exciting, colorful world of adventure, as seen through the eyes of real people. Here to present the actual films of tonight's journey is John Stevenson.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The sport of skin diving has captured the imagination of people from all walks of life. It allows them to explore the fascinating world beneath the surface of the sea. The skin divers of our eastern seaboard flock to the Atlantic. Those in the southern states make a beeline for the Gulf of Mexico. And in the west, the skin diver's paradise is the vast Pacific Ocean. Most generally from Catalina Island off California to Acapulco on Mexico shores. Tonight we're going to explore this underwater paradise, not with professionals, but with amateurs, Mr. and Mrs. Maitland Stewart, who first took up skin diving about 4 months ago, and who tonight will show us where they've been and what they've seen in this skin diver's paradise. We rarely see our guests more than once in our program series, but here's a young couple making their third appearance in less than a year. It's a pleasure to welcome back Mr. and Mrs. Maitland Stewart.
How do you do, John?
Well, it's nice to see you again. Well, this is your third visit, and you feel like old friends to me, and I'm sure our viewers feel the same way about you. Why don't we sit down and find out what you've been up to?
Thank you.
Well, so tonight we're going to go skin diving. How did you happen to pick up this as a sport?
Mary Lou, you answer that.
Well, John, it was for curiosity.
Curiosity?
Mm-hmm. Also, my husband make me do it.
Mrs. Stewart, I find that hard to believe that Mr. Stewart make you do anything. You were a very good sport on the other films we had on you.
Thank you. But you know, John, I love it, though. It was very thrilling.
Anything you take up, I'm sure you love. Well, I've heard that skin diving can be a pretty expensive proposition.
No, not really, because you can start out with just a pair of fins and a snorkel, and you're a skin diver. Of course, professionally, you can get into tanks and air breathing apparatus, and a motion picture camera can run you as much as $800.
I see. Well, you know, our viewers are going to be in for a big surprise because they'll be able to follow the actual steps you two took as beginners. Now, where did you start?
Well, John, I started to learn on the marine land.
Marine land?
Mm-hmm. This is a tank in marine land. Look at this porpoise. Are they cute?
And this is where you learned to skin dive, you said?
No, first, John, I want to show you how we get interesting to go skin diving. They have this contest on the Laguna Beach for skin diving.
They have a contest, do they, down at Laguna Beach every year?
Yes. All the skin diving club compete. It's a contest to see how many fish they can catch on 4 hours.
I
For that, and they have to wear the service suit because they have to stay 3 hours on the water.
Yeah, I imagine it gets pretty cold down there, doesn't it, Mrs.
Pretty
Stewart?
freezing, yes. I would say all these boxes represent each their club.
I see.
These men wear long drawers to keep warm on the water.
You mean long underwear, eh?
Yes. Mm-hmm. And this is one of the president who gives the order to go, and that is the time.
And
And
they're
go.
off. This looks like a foot race, the beginning of it, anyhow.
Yes. Do you not notice this? They cannot wear aqualung.
Oh, they don't wear
No.
aqualungs.
It's against the rule. Just their mask.
Just their air mask.
And you know, sometimes they can stay underwater for 2 or 3 minutes.
I believe that's called a snorkel, isn't it?
Snorkel, yes. You see, when you see a seagull, you see fish. You know, they have a fish. They have 2 there. This is a little bit small fish, though, to go on the contest.
So these boys wouldn't have a chance with this catch, eh?
No. You know, it's pretty hard to land. With all equipment they have very rough time to go on the land. And this fellow are pretty good. He was lucky.
What is that fish?
It's a stingray.
A stingray.
I believe. Now, this is a pretty good bunch of fish. And this is a eel.
An eel, I believe.
Yes. Oh my goodness.
You called it a heel?
Oh.
I like your turn too.
And these 3 gentlemen are the winner. They win this trophy.
Plus all the fish they brought back.
Plus the fish, yes, imagine. And now back to Marion Land. I'm going for the first time to skin diving. Tell you frankly, I'm afraid. I was afraid, but the fish bite me. But the fish don't seem to bother. But you know, it's strange. They did not put enough weight on my body. I keep floating.
I see. You had difficulty staying down. I imagine that belt you're wearing is the weight, isn't it?
Yes, but they don't put enough, and...
Well, that's a problem in reverse, isn't it?
Yes.
Wanting to stay down and not being able to.
I really do like it, you know, but I have to hang on this helmet in this skin diver. And this fish, I think you call this sunfish, yes.
I see.
And it's bigger than me. And this is a stingray.
There are almost more fish than you could take down there, isn't there?
Yes, so it's a beautiful place to see all the specimens on the sea. And I did stay only 20 minutes underwater.
Well, 20 minutes is a long time to spend underwater in your debut as a skin diver, isn't it?
Well, frankly, John, I don't mind if I stay a little bit longer.
You enjoyed it that much?
Yes. And so we rented a boat in Newport, and we went to explore the sea. Our friend Don Jacob goes with us. And lucky enough, we found some purpose. You see, they play with us. They race with the boat.
Uh-huh.
They go to 25 to 30 mile an hour.
Really? I imagine it's pretty tough to keep up with them, isn't it?
Near. And this is sea land. Well, I call this, some people call sea land, or they call seal. And they have, now they're under the rocks. Take a sunbath.
These rocks were covered with seals, as you call
them. Yes, And it's pretty rough to approach them, see?
Mm-hmm.
And they didn't see our boat yet. And I imagine when they go and see the boat, they go and jump on the water.
And approximately where is this rock, did you say?
It's near Catalina.
Near Catalina Island.
Mm-hmm. So Maitland decided to go under the water to take the picture. So you go now, gently goes. And this is our friend, Don Jacob. He's going to the rocks to scare the seal, for them to jump on the water. During that time, Maitland take the picture. See, they jump.
Mm-hmm.
Because they get scared, you know. That is our friend now. He did his duty. I wonder how Maitland feel. You see what? I was this monster going under the water.
They certainly are big boys, aren't
they? Oh, they are big. But they are so graceful underwater. I wish I can swim like this. And this is one. It's curious, you know. You wonder what's going on around. Oh, Maitland took a good shot at this. I think it's wonderful. Look at this.
Not only are they graceful, but quick.
Yes, it's like a bullet.
Gosh, look at this boy maneuver.
And our friend's still on the rocks, trying to scare the rest and the seal.
hear a couple of big boys who aren't going to be...
Yes, these two didn't move. So we decided to go on Acapulco. First we went to Tijuana and took the plane and directly to Acapulco. It took us 8 hours.
8 hours
Yes.
to Acapulco.
Mm-hmm.
But well worth it, I imagine.
Oh, wonderful trip. Very comfortable plane. And here we are on the land of the sun. All the year around, the climate is the same. Always sunny.
It's a wonderful playground, isn't
Mm-hmm. Especially for skin diving because the water is always warm. And we took aluminum suitcase. It's the best when you
it? The
go on
aluminum
tropics.
suitcases, yes.
Mm-hmm. And this is an underwater camera.
Oh,
And only Midland catch this.
only Maitland handles this one,
Oh,
eh?
yes.
That's pretty valuable equipment.
It's pretty heavy too. Only him can touch this. And this is our hotel we stay. And naturally, the first thing I did is to write to my mother and our friend.
I bet Mother's quite happy the way you're getting around and seeing the country over
Yeah,
here.
she's amazing. This is Acapulco. It's a beautiful place. And John, do you see the fort on the back?
Oh, you mean this in the background, this long building
Yes.
is a fort, eh?
Mm-hmm. It was built on the 1600.
1600.
Mm-hmm. The Spanish built this fort to fight the pirates.
The pirates.
Mm-hmm.
Uh-huh.
And this is a cruiser. It's an Italian cruiser.
This boat out in the harbor.
Yes, mm-hmm. It's a strange contract, though, to see this old fort and these beautiful ships.
It's certainly a very, very romantic setting, isn't it?
Yes. And this, John, is the home of the movie star, American movie star, and the rich Mexican.
These castles on the hill are
Yes.
homes?
Oh, they're beautiful.
They certainly are.
And you can rent a boat to go fishing for $2 a day.
$2 a day.
Yes. And this is full of boats and the people, when they come, they put their trophy up. They hang their trophy.
Mm-hmm.
And this fish, they call the shellfish.
I see.
Well, they have this, what do you call that, a beak?
Well, we'll call it that, yes.
Uh-huh. So we decided to go fishing. We're going to take our luck.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Stewart. We'll continue exploring the Skin Diver's Paradise in just a few moments. It's Skin Diver's Paradise, and Mr. Stewart continues the journey.
John, we hired us a boat and headed out for the blue water of the blue Pacific. Because it's out here that we find the famous sailfish, probably the best fighter of them all. Notice how they prepare the bait here. The hook has to be set in right inside the bait. Here's our first catch. One of the ladies of the party hooked onto this a dolphin fish. And believe me, it's a beauty. If you've ever seen one, they have every color of the rainbow. Iridescence, blue and gold, and what a fighter.
I was going to say, he certainly is putting up a game battle, isn't he?
Oh, he is. And this lady here that was doing the fishing was an expert. She really handled it beautifully. They weigh about 30 pounds and really put up a fight. We finally hooked it and brought it in. What a dinner it made. We had our cook at the hotel fixed us up all a big dinner. We had about 14, and it fed us all.
Mm-hmm.
Delicious. Preparing the bait again, we were now ready for the sailfish. And as we hit the blue water, wham.
And look who's at the other end of the pole this time.
Stubborn, too. When she got onto it, she wouldn't let go. Notice she's having a hard time with it because she doesn't know too much about this fishing. These fish travel about 60 miles an hour, and they're dynamite. A torpedo, I could say. You'll notice as she rocks back and forth there, it's not just for rhythm. Actually, you have to take the line in by using your good old back muscles and then catch the line with the reel it in. There's 110 pounds of fish on the end of the line.
And as he's scrapping,
He's about 9 feet 10 inches long, and he jumped at least that much out of the water. But my wife is just as stubborn as he is.
Mrs. Stewart will try anything once, won't she?
Oh, yes. And this was her first time at it, believe me. I don't think she got it close to a big game fish and a can of sardines. We finally landed it, and we were headed on in with a full day's catch. You're allowed 2 sailfish, And then you can capture and throw back in as many as you like. But to conserve the fish down there, they only allow you to bring 2 into the dock.
These sound like very sane regulations.
Mm-hmm. We are allowed to catch as many as we like, but we throw them back in for the next fisherman. And here's our trophy. Like tourists, we stand there and get ourselves photographed.
Naturally.
We stayed right at the Club de Pesca, which has its own dock, and we could come right in and fish every day. For skin divers or for sport fishermen, that's the ticket. We next tried a trip on a yacht. Believe it or not, we couldn't afford one, but they have a tourist yacht available here so that anyone can go yachting. Here we are up in the rigging, and my wife out on the bowsprit. Believe me, it's like being a millionaire.
You can dream for a short while, can't you?
Oh, yeah. We were headed for a very unique place, John. It's a village of escaped African slaves that centuries ago were brought to Acapulco and escaped and joined with Indians and formed a village here about 25 miles away. And believe me, it's like landing on a Pacific island. If you notice the palm-thatched huts and coconut trees in the background, they're very interesting people. They're supposedly escaped slaves that came into Acapulco and escaped off the boat. These are the descendants. This little fellow here is building a harpoon because that's one of the characteristics of these people is that they do shark harpooning. Mm-hmm. And Tony, who's a very good-looking boy, agreed to take us out and show us how it's done.
Well, this ought to be interesting.
Oh, he was a very brave boy to go in one of these dugouts after a shark, and we talked him into taking us along, and he wasn't so sure he wanted us with him. We headed out first. We traveled in the lagoon for a while, and this is, you can see the lagoon. They live off the fish. These people are practically all fish eaters. They have crab and various freshwater fish, and then on the other side they have all the sea fish. And if you notice here, we're on the lagoon side, so you don't notice any waves, but then we bring the canoe over to the other side, and it's only a matter of 25 feet to get on the seaside of this peninsula. Tony, he's showing us where the salt water and the freshwater mix, and here's where the shark are and also the smaller fish they catch with hand lines from the shore. And here's where the spinning reel came from. If you've ever seen spinning reels in modern use, why, these people invented it. They can throw 100 yards with just nothing but a sinker. But here we are after shark, and we're not just throwing at one shark, there's 50 of them here, but they're hard to hit. They're hard to hit because there's problems of refraction, but we finally ended up with getting a big one, and believe me, the tribe was happy because this meant food, and they even used the skin for commercial reasons. They were very happy about the landing of this large shark.
I imagine they can be pretty dangerous in the water on these little cockle shell boats.
Yes, there's one of the families told us about losing their son to a shark. We headed back for Acapulco and were able to rent all the equipment we needed for underwater diving. This was going to be a trip for my wife. This is the first time she's ever used an aqualung. Back in Marineland, she learned all about deep-sea diving, but not about aqualung. And here we have hired us a guide, Mr. Louis Fenton, who is going to take her in particular and help her do some diving.
So after winning her water wings in America, she comes down here to really try it down on the bottoms of the Pacific.
Oh, yes. She was very good at it, too. If you notice here, here's a turtle, one of the first skin divers, I think, that there are. He's built right into his skin diving suit. Here's the guide putting on his aqualung, and he's going to take our gal in there and teach her a little thing about diving. It's nice warm water. That's a wonderful place to dive. Temperature of the water is about 72 all the time. Here's her first attempt. You notice she's having trouble. It floats around on her back there, but she's finally getting so that she can handle it. She follows the guide, and he helps her by staying right with her, which is a very good thing underwater anyway. And while they're doing that, I'm busy catching a turtle. They're very dangerous if you take them from the other end. If you can catch them from the rear, why, they can't hurt you. He can live on top of the water or under the water in perfect ease. All skin divers are envious of this fellow. I guess it was a native sport originally to catch a turtle and let him tow them around. He's a good friendly turtle, isn't he?
Uh-huh. Give him a pat on the head and away he goes.
But he can dive fast, about 30 feet in about 10 seconds. But deep down on the bottom, we find that the rocks are the characteristic of this area. Very little amount of soft sand to land on. Mary Lou is getting better as we go along. She's had about 15 minutes of practice here, and she's getting so she can struggle along all by herself. And it's a little dangerous, too, because these rocks harbor a very dangerous creature called a sea urchin. With long spines of about 6 inches, they can put a wound in your skin that can send you to the hospital because they seem to be poisonous. You can see her there. She's taking a pretty good risk and working close. We were after fish to photograph. There's a good many in here, and they made excellent spearing. She's all on her own now.
Well, as a novice, what are some of the obvious dangers aside from the sea urchins that Mrs.
Well,
Stewart has to watch out for?
Fear is one of the most dangerous because of the fact that you can always lose your head, and if you do so by working at even as shallow a depth as 30 feet, if you come up too quick, you can injure your ears or injure your lungs. Here we're doing a little spear fishing. It's really not fishing, it's spear hunting, because you follow your game, you stalk it, as it were, and as you get close enough to put your arrow in a vital zone, you fire, and if with good luck, why, you've got your game fish, as we did here. These make wonderful pan fish, and we got enough every day of our stay to have all the food we wanted. I offered a prize of 15 pesos to anyone who could capture one of these fish with their bare hands.
That's something like catching a bird by salting its tail, isn't it?
Exactly. They're just like birds. If you've ever seen starlings in flocks, I don't know what signal they use, but they can certainly obey it. Well, we'd finished our aqualunging here pretty near. We found this very peculiar specimen. I guess you've seen them before. They're the puffer fish. And we finished our day's skin diving and taking off the lungs. Here you don't have to wear the big rubber suit like we did up north. Got temperature about 72 degrees. You can enjoy the water for the full hour that your air lasts. I'd like to end this journey with some thrills on top of the water. There's expert water skiing there. Probably all the experts of Mexico spend at least 3 months here in Acapulco. You can tell that they know what they're doing.
Alley-oop.
That's not me, in case you're wondering.
Well, I was wondering.
Here we do it in slow motion. The first time I ever done any water skiing was right here in these waters, and it's a good place for anyone who wants to learn water skiing. Well, it's with reluctance that we say goodbye to this territory. We've got to come back to it. This is indeed a paradise, as you can see it looking at these girls here. They're expert water skiers and have as good a show as anything in the United States. Back to the hotel again, and we say goodbye to Skin Diver's Paradise, or anyone's paradise for that matter.
Now, thank you very much, Mr. Stewart. And you too, Mrs. Stewart. I guess we'd have to call you the star of this episode tonight, wouldn't we?
Oh, thank you, John, for taking me for a star.
Well, I suppose since Mr. Stewart was spending all the time behind the camera, you made a very, very appropriate subject.
Thank you.
But you got some competition from those seals. Now, how fast do they actually go in the water?
Well, they're one of the fastest of the sea animals, and they reach speeds of around 30 miles an hour.
That's really traveling, isn't it? Now, here's a rather loaded question, but I want to hear your answer. You've been to Mexico 3 times in our series. Why did you pick Mexico again for this episode?
Well, for us, Mexico has been a fabulous land, and for any photographer, as a matter of fact. We've found in this area there the deserts, the mountains, snow-capped, or what have you, with the jungles as deep and dark as any in Africa. There's practically anything you want, and especially in this deep sea photography. We found that the area of this particular area around Acapulco as being one of the fisherman's paradise. Of course, we didn't discover that. For many years, they've been catching the greatest sailfish and marlin of probably the greatest records that are held around that area. And so we found that this particular area, and the warm water helps, was very ideal for our type of operation.
Well, on our first episode, you went to the desert. And the next episode, the jungle. And now we've been underwater with you. What's left?
Well, we've heard tell of your people going on satellites or perhaps to the moon. And,
Oh, no, you won't.
if they've got a rocket handy, we'll take the first one.
Well, you know, we had Mr. Dmitry Rebikov in our series some time ago with his underwater films, and he said, actually, we don't have to wait for space travel to explore unknown planets or unknown worlds. It's all down there waiting for us on the ocean floor, and I'm sure you'd agree with him, wouldn't you?
I certainly do, Otis.
I'd like to thank you both and wish you the best of good luck wherever the spirit of adventure takes you.
Thank you, Jeanne.
Next week, we welcome Mr. Paul Chow, originally from Formosa, and his dramatic true story adventure. In this epic sea story, Mr. Chow and 5 companions naively set sail in an ancient Chinese junk from Keelung, Formosa, across the vast Pacific to America. Amateur sailors all, they have difficulty hoisting sail. This is their fresh meat supply for the journey. This is their foghorn. When whales surround the junk, they can only watch. On the 4th of July, the only American aboard is honored by his Chinese shipmates. The undaunted courage of Mr. Chow's group makes headlines in Japan, and an ovation awaits them when they finally pass through the Golden Gate in San Francisco. That's next week, Sailors from Formosa. Incidentally, there's quite a story behind our next episode, and I hope you'll share the story and the actual films with us next week at the same time. John Stevenson saying thank you and good night.